introducing yourself to the...
I'll do the whole good morning thing and then introduce you. Hopefully I said
Good
his
afternoon.
name right. Good morning, Rancho. Maybe good afternoon. I am here today with James Gabriellini. Yay, I said it right. And we have expanded our staff with camera woman Lisa Burnett, who we will put some information about her at the end. Super happy. Now we're up to a staff of, I think, 300. So it's looking good. So I'm here with James, and we're out in beautiful Rancho. It's a beautiful day. You see the blooms, the clouds. We love this area. And James does audio video. And I met you probably because it was Facebook about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And I had you come and do the surround sound at my house, which I was very pleased with. So I want to talk about, and I know you've got some passion projects too, but first I want to talk about your business a little bit, and then let's talk about the passion projects. So tell me what you're doing, how long you've been here in Rancho, and what you're specializing in these days.
Well, I've been in Rancho for about 15 years. I've been working in and out of the film industry as a engineer, editor, and director on some cases with Court TV. I changed businesses when I moved from Northern California to coming out here. I used to have a medical animation and production company. And after my father passed away, I decided to sell the company, move back down south, be closer to my mother, and help take care of her. So then I just started a new company. Working as an engineer for off and on for 30 years, I decided to put together an audio and video company and help people with their audio and video. Started seeing some bad stuff done and decided maybe we should try to do something a little better.
Okay. So I know, like with mine, you hooked up the surround sound, which has been great. I had it built into the house, and it was like, 15 years, 17 years before I finally actually did the surround sound. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
But I see you very active in the community on Facebook and such. And one of the things I love is your Halloween display.
Yeah.
You do a very elaborate job. My kids demand that we go there every year. I mean, your passion for, just humanity in general, you have a really big heart. And, I see like you do the Easter bunny.
Oh, the footprints.
The footprints.
Yeah, the footprints for the kids.
Yeah, to just excite the kids. I mean, it's just super cool. But I understand now you're working with suicide prevention.
Trying to put that together. That's one of the other projects I'm trying to work on. The Halloween one is been going on for many, many years, and what I do with that is I get the community involved to come and see an over-the-top Halloween display, and from there, what we do is we collect food, non-perishable food and things for the homeless, and we collect a lot of stuff. And I also had some other houses that were involved, and they would do the same. And then we just call up the local places and see who's low, and then that's the ones we would donate to.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I like to bring stuff to it.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous what you're doing there.
The rabbit prints I've been doing since I was 7 years old. When I found out the Easter Bunny needed to leave some tracks. So I started doing it with my nieces, and it went on. It's been going. I've done for schools. I was even on a rock tour once where I put it in the tour bus. And but I've been doing this for years. I've sometimes traveled a couple 100 miles to do it for nieces and nephews. Now I do it for the community and for some of the kids in my neighborhood. I think last year I did 400 footprints. I think it was for the bunnies. And this year it's grown because I got a lot of clients that have kids that want me to do it for them now. So I'm probably looking at about 700 footprints that I got to get done. Last year it took me from 9 to 4 a.m. So I'm planning on no sleep that day.
I guess it's good that you don't sleep.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah, my brain does not like me to sleep very much.
To have any downtime.
It likes me to design, build, create. That's all my brain wants to do.
Well, you do some fabulous stuff. Now, with like the food donations or the suicide prevention, is there any way people could get involved at this stage? I mean, we can put phone numbers, websites, whatever you want.
Yeah, well, the Halloween thing is, I like getting the kids involved. So I'll have a dozen kids working on these projects. And I'm the guy in the neighborhood. When my garage door goes open, all the kids come to my house and want to play with the drills and stuff. So I teach them how to use tools and stuff. And But when I'm building the Halloween, I have kids I don't never even seen before come on and say, "Can I help?" and "Can I help?"
That's awesome.
This year, I set up a couple of workshops teaching people how to make skeletons that have been in murky waters for so long, how to make floating candles. So I think I'm going to do more of that next year, because we had tons and tons of parents that were there with kids and wanting to learn how to do that. So it's all about getting, basically what it comes down to, I'm just, with today where everything is so adult, kids are growing up way too fast, and I'm just doing what I can to keep the kids as young as possible.
I appreciate that. I totally agree with you. You know, they want to shove things down their throats at 5, 6 years old. And it's like they've lost all their innocence. You know, I take my kids out here hiking when they were little, and, you know, we would look at things. There used to be a big pile of dirt right here, and I came with my son in Hot Wheels, and we scraped tracks out for them. And just that, instead of sitting there shooting people on TV for 9 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if I lived here growing up, I mean, we would have hopped that fence and rode our bicycles up there and built some kind of a track to ride our bicycles around, and, you know, just there isn't that anymore.
Yeah, it's tough to keep that innocence. I really appreciate, you know, your efforts, and hopefully they'll inspire more people to do that kind of thing, and, you know, help kids be kids and enjoy the creativity, and instead of just being fed things out of a screen.
Well, that's what's kind of led in also to you know, kind of segue into the suicide is, you know, I've been seeing kids that are being committed suicide. I have personally, friends of mine and family, close to a dozen that I know of have had suicide. And I grew up in a pretty tough town. It was a lot of gangs and things like that where I grew up. But a lot of my friends have taken their own life over the last several years. And then I've been hearing a lot of this stuff from people jumping off bridges, to girls slicing their wrists, to overdosing pills, and I thought, you know, I'm a big believer of Al-Anon, which is an organization that works with people that have friends and family that are alcoholics, and I would love to do some kind of a prevention thing for suicide with the city. Mike Vaughn, who is the former mayor, he says he would like to help me too on this, and I just think that it's, instead of hoping the problem is going to go away, maybe we can help the foundation of some of these people. And I think by bringing people that are thinking about suicide in the same room with people that have lost people with suicide might make them realize that taking their own life is a lot more disturbing than to themselves than it can be for their surrounding people that love them. And maybe just hearing some of people's ideas of how it completely changed their world, maybe that one person will make them think that, you know, I don't want to put my loved ones through that.
That's really it. I mean, just a few months ago, my 14-year-old nephew, killed himself.
Yeah.
And he went from 0 to 100 in about 3 weeks, you know, for being depressed. And he'd been with his family that night. Everything had been fine. And the horrible part about it is the next day they got a notice from the school warning on his computer activity, looking up depression and suicide. It was the next day. And he did it on a Sunday. Had they sent the notice on Friday, you know,
well, it's not their their issue.
It's not.
And the thing is, you can't, you know, unless the family is an abusive family. Even, you know, I have a perfect example. A friend of mine went to high school with a Mormon guy, beautiful family. He was a handsome man, very involved with the community, went and built churches. The last person in the world you would think about it, and then just one day, he took his own life. And I talked to him constantly on Facebook, even to I think it was 2 days before he did it. And his humor was still there. There wasn't anything. There was no signs. I talked to his wife. I talked to his daughter. It's just that day was when he made up his mind. And I was hoping, you know, that's the one that really upset me. And I tried to get the city involved with it. I tried to get the city council involved with it. And they just ignored me. And this is not the city council today, but it was the city council in the past. And I was so upset, and I went out and got drunk, you know, something you shouldn't do, but I got drunk, and luckily I had someone to take care of me, drive me home. But I was so upset that I put my phone number on Facebook and I told people,
I remember
you
that.
you got it. Here's someone, here, call me. If we can't do it with the city, call me. I spent 3 days up without sleep, texting, chatting, emails, all hours of the night of just talking to people that were thinking about it. And I believe there was, I think, maybe 40 or 50. And I thought to myself, with the small population of RSM, that's a large percentage that are even the ones that even know that I did this.
Yeah.
And I says, I got to do something about this. And that's when I made up my mind that I got to somehow work with somebody to get a room, to set up a place where people can feel safe to talk and listen to other people, because this is a very wonderful city and it's a very kind city. But if we have, and we don't have the gang issues that I grew up with, we don't have that kind of stuff. You see a lot of beautiful things around here, and there's that many people are thinking about it. That worried me.
Yeah.
That worried me. And I said to myself, I have to do something about it. And, I've been working on this now for over a year, and it's been, there's a lot too I'm finding out, because there's a lot of legal things I have to deal with. And I spoke to lawyers.
Liability.
I spoke with lawyers. I've spoke with psychiatrists, psychologists, friends of mine that have been involved in that. A friend of mine who used to run a company that did this. And it's taken some time, but I'm hoping that maybe by summertime or the end of summer, I can have something up and going.
Well, that'd be great. Let me know. We'll help get the word out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
It touches you way too much. A friend of mine from church, one of the last suicides on the bridge here, that was him. My stepdad 8 years ago, that was him. I've talked to a few people off the ledge, and I know it's touched. I don't know anybody who doesn't know somebody who killed themselves.
Yeah, and the thing is it is a misconception. He says if you put all the preventions in the way, you could stop somebody. You can't. You can't. And in one of my friend's case, he was anti-gun, didn't own a gun. He found somebody on the street to buy a gun to take his life.
Yeah.
So I mean, a bridge fence or something like that isn't always the answer. But what could be the answer is some way to someone to talk to get this done. We have to work on the foundation. You can build the most beautiful house in the world, but if the foundation is a piece of junk, that house is coming down.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah, and you do have to start earlier. It's like you broke your arm and the bone's sticking out, and you tell somebody, hey, I'm in a lot of pain. Well, here, take an aspirin. You're going, it's not working. You're treating the wrong thing. The arm is broken.
That's called putting a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work.
And you sort of have two different categories. You got the person that's going to, they're determined to kill themselves. Right. In the case of my stepdad, he had built a contraption to do it. He took time. He filled out letters for his kids and all this thing. But then you've got the people, and I've got some friends like this, they go out and they get way too inebriated. It's Coke or pot and alcohol, and they think it's a good idea to hang themselves in the bathroom at the hotel. And that happens. It's just in that moment, while you're impaired, it seems like a good idea. And I don't know how you stop that, but the people who plan it out, my nephew planned it out. He left all these notes. And if you can talk to them, and it's communication. And I mean, we could both go on all day on this.
And it's a touchy subject, and it's the debating a part of it is, going just around the same circle. Is it the gun's fault? Is it this fault? Is it the manufacturer? I'm seeing now that Remington is being sued by a parent that their child used,
Yeah, well, they could have done it in your car in the garage.
It could be, and the thing is, when someone has made up their mind, it's very difficult to change it. But what you can do is let them, the number one thing that's been the most helpful is a hotline. It's just a hotline. Hotline has been the number one prevention. Now if we can take that idea of the hotline and bring it face to face, it might just put that in them more. It might just bring that, well, you know what, I'm going to make my mom devastated. I'm, 1/3 of the money that comes in for my family. My dad's gone. He's passed away. I can just devastate this entire family if I leave it right now. Maybe I should just seek some more help. Anything to make them think twice about it.
I mean, as a parent, your greatest fear is something happening to your child.
Yeah.
And, siblings, and there's natural death, of course, but just taking your own life, it's just it's so depressing. Yeah. And it's preventable.
It
right?
can be. Yeah, it is definitely preventable. It's not black and white like so many people want to discuss. There's so much gray.
Well, there can be a psychological issue. It can
Yeah.
be because you're inebriated.
Right.
It's circumstantial. You lost your a bunch of bad things can happen in the course of a day.
Right. It can
and
domino
you feel
effect.
despondent. But you know what? 2 days later, it can all be better again. And that's, and especially with the younger people. My son used to tell me how upset he was to hear all these sort of rich kids being suicidal. Like, what do they have to complain about? And maybe privilege is a problem. I don't know.
Maybe. See, you just depressed me. It's something that's going to take. And this is one of those things that, I rushed into the raising the food for the homeless and for the needy, and so I did it. Didn't do it as well, and it took me a while to get all the bugs out of it. This one is too important. This is a matter of life and death. I'm taking my time on it, and I want to do this one right, because I don't know if I'm going to be sitting in a room with nobody for the first month, or I'm going to be sitting in a room with too many people in that first month. So I have to be prepared for that. It's going to be more than just free cookies and coffee.
Right.
There has to be someone to go up there and talk about their issues. And everybody, I think, has had suicide thoughts in their head. I mean, they're having a bad day, bad grade, or mom told them they couldn't go to a concert.
Yeah.
Everybody has had that in their head. It's the ones that react on it or overreact on that is the ones we have to help.
Well, we will help get that word out when you're ready.
Appreciate it.
And you give me anything you want on this, and we'll add it to this as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And, I appreciate what you're doing. It's very important.
If people want bunny tracks in front of their house, I'll build you a template, because I don't think I could take on anymore. Okay, I'll build you a template and teach you how to do it. But I'm pretty full right now.
Yeah, I mean, originally I thought you had made like model feet and then just dumping it in shock. And
No,
like
I
that.
actually cut out little feet, Bugs Bunny type feet, and I get flour or powder, and I take a big Gatorade bottle where I drilled holes in it to make it look like a giant salt shaker, and I'm doing this and then walking 6 feet and doing another one. It used to be every 2 feet, but my back's been going out, so now, taking the metric of view, and I'm going every 6 feet or every 10 feet now for that hop. But then like a full, being the OCD person I am, I got to have those feet coming back from the house. But I didn't have a lot of them, so I actually would go into the houses and take the tracks leading to where their baskets were, and someone I put I had funny parents say, "Hey, put one on my son's head," here's one on their head, and then to get even with the parents, I would put them on their car going up and over their windshield, because with the dew, it becomes like concrete, and they're out there scraping their window, and it's like, oh, I guess that's what I get putting a footprint on my kid's face, Yeah.
Well, James, I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining the show, and thank you all for tuning in again. And pay attention to what he's got going on. It's good stuff. If you got TVs, is there a big sporting event coming up, World Cup or something? He's good about posting online when there's sales and all sorts of stuff. So thank you again, James.
I appreciate it.
And
thank you.
Next time.